answers, all of you,
Sure,
students,
sir.
former students.
Cloud recording. Video.
Hello, everybody. I'm Professor Sriram Chowli. I'm the Dean of the School of International Affairs at Jindal Global University. It's my distinct pleasure to host this conversation with three of our top alumni. These young people have made a mark in a relatively short life. They've already been shining stars in academia, in extracurriculars, and have moved on after graduating from Jindal Global University's School of International Affairs. They've done our prestigious flagship BA Honors in Global Affairs program and have now gone out and are doing wonders in the world. So I want to engage with them today and to talk to them about how they made their choices after completing the BA Global Affairs, what paths they opted for, how they benefited from the advice that we all as faculty here gave them, and how they could really plan their futures. And I hope that they will be role models for next upcoming cohorts and batches of BA Global Affairs students who will continue to come to our school and our university. So let me briefly introduce them to you, our star cast today. We have Sanjana Medipalli. Sanjana is our graduate from the batch of 2015, from the first batch, the ones who joined the BA Global Affairs when we floated it, India's first and only undergraduate program with a focus on international relations and related issues. We have Priyasha Sayukil, who is from the batch of 2017. She's 2 years junior to Sanjana. And we also have Atharva Deshmukh, sorry, who is also from the batch of 2015, from the founding cohort of BA Global Affairs. So welcome all three of you, Priyasha, Atharva, and Sanjana. Now let me get going with the basic, the issue we have on hand, which is how did you make this transition? I mean, tell us a little bit of what you're doing right now, please, and what you have studied after completing BA Global Affairs. How did you make the choice? And how was Jindal instrumental in helping you move in this direction? Sanjana, first you, please.
Sure, sir. Thank you for the introduction. Currently, I'm working as a manager at Nandi Foundation in Hyderabad. It's an NGO. And after my Jindal undergraduation, I went on to do my master's from London School of Economics in political economy of late development. And if I have to jot it down to how specifically the advice have helped me make all these choices, including everyday career choices I make, and everyday inferences I get from my experience at Jindal, is it's not only academia which has helped me to be where I am today, but also it's the hand holding of each and every professor at different stages of my time at Jindal, and for different issues and for different advices which had made me make that choice for going to LSE. And it's also the goal with which I've joined Jindal, that I want to study at a eminent institution even further. So, which is why I have chosen for Jindal School of International Affairs for my undergraduate in international affairs, and because also with a knack for economics and also politics. This course had, I found my calling in this course when I first saw the ad in my website during school. So that was my mini journey.
Priyasha, your journey from BAGA to your next steps, what have you been doing?
So, Professor, currently I'm enrolled in the Vedika Scholars Program, which is a women's program for, it's a management program and liberal arts program. So it's a sort of a co-curricular program, and it's based in Delhi. And initially, my plans were to go to LSE as well. I had received an offer letter last year, but because of the pandemic, I decided not to go abroad because I just thought that it's not the best time to go abroad. And in the meantime, I decided to pursue this fellowship because so my plans basically are I wanted to explore the business aspect, and that is why this fellowship has played a very important part. And for what I learned at JSIA as a BAGA student was very instrumental because I have developed a really deep passion for climate change, global governance. And that was only because of my courses and the research papers I wrote as a student at JSIA. And now, slowly, I'm treading towards the business aspect and the CSR aspect of sustainability and climate change. And that would have definitely not been possible without the studies that I had, like the courses that I took at BAGA, and also the semester exchange opportunity that I had as a student at JSI.
Study, Presha, for
I
semester?
went to Utrecht University in the Netherlands for my semester exchange, and over there also I did extensive research on international relations and climate change and environmental security. So that has definitely sort of streamlined my career plans, and I want to explore the corporate side of it right now. That's why I'm enrolled in a management program.
See, this is the fascinating thing. The bachelor students already moving in the direction of specialization. We don't hear of that much in India, but we have done it at Jindal, and we already trained our students to think about specific issues or specific geographical themes, and to go deep into them. Atharva, your journey since graduating, and how do you connect the studies and the curriculum and all that you learned with us at Jindal, and how are you now applying it as you went forward?
Awesome. So currently, I am pursuing my PhD at the University of Melbourne, where my PhD is tied to a Australian Research Council project, which is focused on the political economy of investment policy. And I specifically look at the use of national security screenings and policy divergence in these screenings in FDI regulation. So that's what I'm currently doing. I also pursued my master's at the LSE. I did a program called International Political Economy, which is a very research intensive interdisciplinary kind of master's program. Before that, I worked for 1 year at the World Trade Center in Mumbai in the research team, where I had a lot of exposure to issues and themes within international trade with respect to exports, imports, and so on. And before that, when I was at Jindal, I think like Sanjana, I'd found that interaction between political science and economics was something that was really interesting to me. For a moment, I also contemplated going for the sole like MSc Economics program, but the more I thought about it, the more I was interested in pursuing that interaction between the two fields. And the more I took that year to work after my undergraduate, simply because I wanted to understand my choice a lot better. I wanted to understand my reasoning a lot better. I found that at the end of 3 years, I was still on shaky ground with respect to justifying my choices. So I've always thought that I'd be able to justify them a lot better if I spend some time, maybe go into the real world, get some experience, and then step back in. So I did 1 year, not a lot, but yeah. And through the undergraduate program, I think two things mattered most. One is what I would call this cognitive flexibility that I developed. So I also pursued a semester abroad at Leiden University in the Netherlands, and where I focused again on just political economy. And I did a lot of courses on international economics and quantitative methods and whatnot. And at the end, what I found is I was able to take insights and methods from one discipline and apply them into another, which brought with it a very unique sort of perspective, a very unique methodology. So by way of example, if I had to apply, say, econometric methods into political science outcomes like voting, so those are things that are becoming really interesting with the kind of methods that are being applied today. And I found that my foundation in those methods was laid way down when I was an undergraduate student. And the second thing that mattered, I think, was the kind of expertise I had access to. I think the faculty at GSI are absolutely phenomenal. You can spend a time with them. They're very approachable, I think, beyond the classroom as well. So the kind of professors that I had, the kind of relationships that I developed with the faculty members are very, very useful in terms of thinking about my choices, developing a way of understanding my decisions. And yeah, that was, I think, what mattered.
Great. No, that's great to hear that we could add value as you are moving up the ladder. In fact, Sanjana, I want to bring you back in on this. when you were applying to the LSC, um, what kind of support did you get from the Jindal faculty, and how did they help shape your thoughts and your, your application? And it's very competitive. You went to a top university in the world after completing Jindal, and just take us through that part, please, and how our mentoring at Jindal enabled you to go on to the LSE and to do what you're doing now?
So the first inspiration, sir, had come from the faculty itself to decide on LSC in my first year, because we had professors like Dipanshu and everyone who's from these eminent universities. And through my interaction, I had an academic mentor uh, at each stage of my time in Jindal. And these professors have first made me understand the courses or wide range of specialities available in all these universities. Apart from that, along with, like Atharv said, the experimentation which he's done at World Trade Center, I thought I'll do it within Jindal itself, with my research, with working with the research centers, publications, as well as managing programs to understand where my interest fits. And post that, I used to have one-on-one discussions with my professors, and also not only within JSIA, but also from the other schools at JGU at times, because I've been associated through the courses or through other program or research centers. And post that, when the time had come that I had to apply for the LSE, the first thing is I've had support from the professors in drafting my SOP, and in terms of application, it's also which part should I highlight a lot, and also in terms of recommendation letter, which is a highly important part of the application process, which I've got from you as well as Professor Dipanshu. And I think all the credit goes to this kind of support I had since year one. I wouldn't even say, later on time. So that was the process.
Priyasha, you've stepped out of the Jindal bubble, so to say, our protected world, and you're now outside. But what is your feedback you get about Jindal as a brand? I mean, now, we are ranked within the top 700 of the world by QS, despite just being a 10-year-old institution. JSIA is even younger, because Jindal, the global university, started with the law only, and JSIA was launched only in 2011. So, and I hear employers, and higher study destinations, you go to people saying that Jindal graduates are really good and they're well trained. So, did you get that kind of brand, feeling when you went out about Jindal?
Definitely, Professor, because Jindal has definitely developed a very strong brand name. Now, people all over the country, and even like I know I have family friends abroad as well who have heard of Jindal and have heard not only of the law school, but have also heard of the JSIA program and the liberal arts program. So it has definitely developed a strong brand name in the past few years. And I think one of the most appealing aspects of JSIA is the faculty, and which has been in my experience as well, the very internationally qualified faculty members that we have, and not only their qualification but also their teaching method, the sort of personal relationships we also have with faculty, the kind of support and mentorship we get from those faculty members at JSIA is not something that a lot of students probably experience otherwise. And like Sanjana said, even I had internship experiences at research centers in at JGU, and I also took cross electives from different courses. So I had that exposure from multiple faculty members from or like the entire university, and that definitely helped me sort of understand my career aspirations and streamline my area of interest.
Atharva, internships, both Sanjana and Priyasha have done internships, so have you. What's the link between internships you do in your undergraduate in the bachelor's level and your next steps in your career? I mean, are you able to maintain a consistency? Did you do that and interned in the same type of organizations and institutions while you were here at doing the BA Global Affairs, and then continued down that path, or did you shift? What's the bridge between internship and long-term career in your view?
So I think it's about exploring your curiosity through a wide array of programs. So I think there's one approach, which is you find something you like and then pursue an internship in that direction and go all for in that direction. But the approach that I adopted was, as an undergraduate, I knew that whatever happens, I have to keep my horizons as broad as I possibly can. So any opportunity that I took, any experience that I took on, I always try to think, okay, how is this different from the last opportunity that I took? And so what happened is, at the end of 3 years, I had I had a collective set of experiences from various different fields, from conflict studies to, say, economics. And then I was able to compare and contrast these experiences and then decide that, okay, this is something that I really like. This is something that I'm relatively not good at, relatively not so interested in. And it helped more so in the process of elimination than the process of selection of direction. I think that's what it helped.
Mm. So it was like initially first year of undergraduate, you were like unsure exactly what you wanted. So you tried out very set of internships. Then gradually, as you go forward, you narrow your focus and start looking at things that you really are passionate about. Huh?
That's right.
Yeah. Okay. Last round, I want to start with Sanjana. And so, Sanjana, what is your future plan? What are you going to? What do you aspire to do after where you are right now? And in what ways is being a Jindal alumnus helping you as you move forward in your life?
So in long-term perspective, I am looking for doing a PhD, but it's another 10 years down the lane. Right now, I am working as a manager, which in this foundation, where we have recently received the World Food Vision Prize from the Rockefeller Foundation. So I'm spearheading the team in towards that, in terms of reaching few of the sustainable development goals. So since I've been given this position, I think I'm going to stick towards this goal and enlarge the program a bit. But being a Jindal alumni, like Priyasha had mentioned, is I've received from wherever I've applied before joining this particular foundation, I've received a lot of feedback from the employers. Even now, I keep getting some employment opportunities just because, okay, we have referred to you from Jindal or LSE, both of these. But Jindal is something I keep hearing a lot within India. And so for now, in terms of my work, which I'm working towards Arconomics and the long term of sustainable development goals, I think the experiences I've had in JSIA, going to Brazil for project management, that was more in terms of business aspect, and also research papers where I'm more oriented to economics. So these have been combined, and it's a great help or a great addition to my skill set, which I'm using in everyday life today, that I can say, apart from the academic knowledge I've gained. So that is my plan for now.
Well, I'm so glad to hear that, because as a teacher and as an administrator, it gives us great joy to know that something we do has really helped young people to clarify their minds and build their careers. Priyasha, what next for you, and how do you propose to leverage the Jindal brand going forward?
So, Professor, the course that I'm doing now, I'll be graduating by the end of this year. And after that, I plan to start working. And the area that I'm interested in is energy policy and environment policy. That's something that I definitely plan on pursuing. Long-term perspective, I do want to go for a master's degree abroad eventually, maybe 5 years down the line, once I have some work experience under my belt. And yes, definitely, I think the kind of experience that I've gained at Jindal, so like I mentioned earlier, I developed an interest for climate change during my undergraduate studies at Jindal, and I had the opportunity of exploring that from multiple perspectives, be it from security or peace and conflict studies, gender, migration. So that holistic interdisciplinary education that I had is really, really helpful for me to now transform that into something that I apply in the corporate world or from a policy perspective. And that is definitely something that I'm planning to do, because when I mention all of these things in my CV or transcript, I have had certain internship interviews and so on, and they are very intrigued by the kind of work that I've done in my undergrad studies. So yes, that's my plan so far.
Great. No, they're intrigued. It means that we are doing the right thing, because we changed a lot of the paradigms, because people thought nobody can study international issues at the undergraduate level, at honors level. We changed it 2015 with the BA Global Affairs. And now there are a few others in the country, but we were the pioneers who could break the silos, because earlier the belief was always that you could only do international studies at the master's level in India. So we've now completely shifted the thinking about pedagogy and about how to structure undergraduate education around foreign affairs. Atharva, last word. You're now already on a PhD. So are you looking at an academic career? Generally, most of our BAGA students get a master's and don't go beyond that, but you seem to be leaping even further into a PhD. So what's the end game? Are you going to become a professor like me, which is great?
Yeah, I think that's definitely probably on the horizons, but I've kept both opportunities open. I think one of the main reasons I chose this particular PhD program is because it's tied to a project, and there's a larger vision for the work that I do for the project team as well. So I definitely think an academic career is really interesting. It was not interesting to me as an undergraduate, but I think through the years I've come to really develop a very deep appreciation for the kind of work that you and the faculty team have been able to do, and it's not easy to do that. And as a PhD student, I think I'd be lucky if I can emulate some of the attributes that I've seen in the faculty members at Jindal. So I have to keep, again, my horizons have to be as broad as I can, but yeah, definitely an academic or a non-academic career in research is where I'm headed.
Well, thank you all so much. You are saying Jindal has been an inspiration. I will now praise you wholesomely, because you are no longer our student. So I can be generous and say that you have been inspirations for us, and your inspirations for your juniors, for all the batches of BA Global Affairs students who have walked through our portals. Some of your names are on the wall of fame in the academic building of the university, for being the toppers and medalists at the time when you graduated. So the key is quite clear, right? I mean, all of you are looking at a master's or have already done a master's, and all of you are moved in the direction of specialization after completing the BAGA, but you got your start in the BAGA at JSIA. So that's a matter of satisfaction for us. I wish you all three the very best for your careers, and we hope that you can continue inspiring the future BAGA incoming students who will look up to you as role models. Thank you very much, and best wishes.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure talking to you all and to see you all. God bless you.
Thank you. Likewise. Bye.